Hey everybody, Hostrone here. It's Friday. That means first edition. So you guys know that I'm a big fan of the download dilemmas. I love the concept of them. I love what they do. That they take other dilemmas that on their own would not be worth a seed slot. They're just not good enough. But when you can basically turn them into half of a card, or even a third of a card or something, then they get to be like reasonable for their power level. And they also create it also creates then a little bit of excuse me, it also creates a little bit of anarchy in what's happening in the game, that you can then choose those two dilemmas and then functionally, instead of seeding them each as half a card and they had to be placed in a particular order based on the situation, you can switch the order of them basically, because you're downloading them and then seeding them. So if you would have had to seed them normally, you would have had to set which ones faced first, second, third, etc. But with them being downloaded, you can on the fly decide that you want to have one or the other come first and then second based on the situation. This is the list of dilemmas that download and seed that are currently in the game. The only one that I personally feel is just not really all that good is the loss, and that's basically because these four dilemmas they're just so not good. you know, um, this would have been better. This dilemma could have been on its own even better if they would have gone with either no attribute and then had potentially had some other skill that could have like went into here, like for medical or something, or made this integrity greater than 60 or something like that, to make up for the fact that these dilemmas are just not all that good. But anywho, personally, and those of you who are longtime followers of this channel, longtime members of the CC who are aware of my opinions on this, it comes as no surprise to you that my opinion is that this list is not complete. There needs to be more of these. There definitively needs to be more of these. There are many dilemmas in the game that are just simply not worth being a full seed slot, and need to be essentially dialed down to being a half a seed slot by having another dilemma that downloads them and in a group. I mean, the Deep Space Nine set has a bunch of them. A lot of these older sets do. I mean, no one's playing with Angry Mob. Okay, no one's playing with clan people or common thief or extradition or Flaxian assassin or framed for murder or Garanian bolites or hate crime or isolinear puzzle or kidnappers or lockbox or misguided activist or None Shall Pass, or Punishment Box, or Odo's Cousin, or Seismic Quake, or Skullduggery, or The Three Vipers, or Trauma, or Untrustworthy Associate, or Vantiga's Neural Pathways, or Vendetta, or Vol Infestation. Like, that entire list, almost this entire list of dilemmas from Deep Space Nine set are just unusable on their own. They're just not good. The only ones that you see are Pup, Eltonian Brain Teaser, and not even for the reason that it's designed, and then maybe Dalrock, maybe DNA Clues, just because it actually has been proven to be a good setup for in a combo. And then the other ones that you see are only because they are ones that have been put into a dual dilemma or into a downloader dilemma, such as Aphasia Device and Harvester Virus. Garrick has some issues. none shall pass. No, sorry, no loose ends. No loose ends is a virus dilemma. So it just needs to be that. And there's there could potentially be, some really clever story designs that could be done that would allow for some of these to be combined. There's got to be some kind of story beat or concept that trauma and even seismic quake, could be somehow put together, So, that's just my take on it, and I would challenge the designers to do that. I would challenge them. I could easily see something where, because it's even in the same episode, but Duonetic Field Generator and, where is it? I think it's in a different set, actually, now that I think about it. The card that I'm thinking, Punishment Box, no, it's here. They're from the same stupid episode, right? And so how you could not be able to put those two together at a minimum, is it's all it takes, good Lord, no one has ever played Kidnappers, like, ever. So, come on. There's gotta be ways of putting some of this stuff together and making it work, right? So to the designers, I say get on it, for crying out loud. All right, so with that in mind, what we're going to do today is we're just going to look at a dilemma strategy that I put together that focuses on the use of the downloader dilemmas. The deck that you play with it is kind of inconsequential. As long as you're not seeding more than 9, then you're okay. Now, for purposes of creating a situation here, our Movie Feds deck is our opponent. Sorry, the Movie Feds and Their Problems deck will just be our opponent, just vis-a-vis for like what missions are being put out. That doesn't really matter. And we've got 21 dilemmas. Also for all intents and purposes here, in case you were wondering, I've simply put this into a deck that is a Starfleet destruction of Earth, right? What's important is that you have the Dyson Sphere and we have Let Me Help. Though realistically, the Let Me Help is kind of a bit of a, not even really all that super important. So there's plenty of decks out there where you're only seeding, like 7 cards or what have you. So, finding these two and then running these 21 dilemmas, so, yeah. One of them, you don't have to go with Quantum Leap, and that's the only one I think that's AU in this entire group. And so if you don't want to do AU, you can just switch the Quantum Leap to, say, Rules of Obedience or Median Disintegration or something like that, right? So even you don't really have to devote the AU doorway to this strategy. It just happens to work out that we can. But here's what we're doing. So we've got 2 planet combos. We start the first one with a Shore Leave, and out of our Dyson Sphere, we can pull female's love interest, male's love interest. With Let Me Help, each of these are now going to move 2 people away. So first off, we require the male and the female, and then chances are the opponent, if they're going to do that, they're going to send a bunch of people in. And so the Shore Leave will cause some people to go away. That puts us into the ever popular Primal Urges, so then 2 more males and 2 more females are going to go away. So ideally 2, 4, 8 people have now been relocated to the far end of the space line. And then of course that sets us up for the classic Matriarchal Society, which requires 3 females then to get past. So we will have hopefully removed 4 females, and now they need 3 more females to get through. This is a very common dilemma combo. There's nothing really special here. It's why we're going to talk about it first. But the idea is that we want to have this probably at a planet mission that will be kind of closer towards the end of a space line, so that they go to the farthest end of the space line. So we can probably put that dilemma combo here at Cytherian Lure. Then we get to the next planet combo. So we've got M113 creature. We know that we're having them do Jolly Chew at the end of the combo. And so we can try to target Transporter Skill on a ship if we need to. But realistically, that's not the point. The point is that we're going to download Utah and the Gatherers here, and we'll download the Gatherers first, then hit Utah after it. And here's the idea. The idea is that we kill somebody, and it probably doesn't even really matter who. Probably just the person with the highest integrity. And then the vengeance factor, we'll put these on there, and then we'll go on the mission and we'll double the requirements of the Gatherers. So, attribute requirements. If they've got Maruk, good for them, right? I don't think I've ever seen her played in like 20 years. So they basically functionally need integrity greater than 72, which is not nothing to get past it. Now, it will discard all equipments and artifacts in the away team plus 1 card from their hand and then discards. So if they don't have it, it doesn't, it's not like they need 72 in order to continue on the mission. But that's, again, not the point. The point is that we stop them for an entire turn, most likely. We can potentially snag all of their equipment and a card from their hand, which might even be really good. You never know. But they'll stop those people, and so chances are they can't continue. What's important is that if it does stop everyone, they have to show you that they don't have it. So you can look at all the people, decide who you want to kill, because then when they reattempt, as long as if they didn't beam people around or anything, then you would know the number, the Utah number for your target. And then you just have to be mindful of, is there anybody else in that group, in that away team, that happens to have that Utah number. So you just basically have to figure out. But the fact is that between M113 creature looking at everybody and then killing someone, and then the Gatherers hitting and probably stopping everyone, and then if they do pass it, they have to show it to you that they can pass it. So you get to look at all your opponent's personnel, who's on that planet and who's attempting, regardless. Okay? And then that allows you to then know your Utah number so that you can target, and ideally what you're doing is you're going after anthropology. And then they will they'll probably reattempt, and then they'll hit the Jolly Chew. We'll get to kill 2 people, most likely, and then they'll still be there, so then we're going to kill another one with M113 creature. This is not about creating a situation where you lock them out. This is about creating a situation where you can just maybe keep them off the mission for a little bit while they find another anthropology, or where you're just hammering a mission skill. Right? You hammer a particular mission skill, stop, hammer a particular mission skill, kill a mission skill, kill 2 more. Or at the very least, we're just engaged in pretty serious attrition here of killing 1, killing 2, killing 3, possibly killing 4 and 5, and then killing 6 before they even get through the mission. So it's kind of the same theory as the other planet combo of we're just trying to remove 6 or more people and get them out and just basically grind your opponent's resources down by getting so many people removed that they have to spend like 2 full turns getting that number of people back into play again. Alright, so that's combo number 2. This planet combo, let's just put it over here at Access Archives. Alright, let's flip over to space now. These are our dual combos. Let's flip over to space. So we've got a pair of 4-card combos, and these are the ones that I'm actually quite proud of. So the first one is Mission Fatigue. Unless empathy and leadership present place on mission, each subsequent dilemma here stops one non-board person on random selection when revealed. So unless they have the empathy and leadership, that group is going to stop. That crew is going to stop. So the ship has to have empathy on it, or they're getting cold stopped. So now they're cold stopped. Let's just assume that they're cold stopped for a turn. You buy yourself a turn. It goes on the mission, and now every dilemma is going to get subsequently stop a person when revealed. So the first thing that happens is that they then see looking for Parmok and someone's randomly stopped. Now they need the male and female, or they need the officer and cunning. Chances are they're going to have a male and a female. But looking for Parmok is then going to download 2 dilemmas, and we basically are just going with Unexpected and Brief Romance. You guys know from previous videos that obviously we're setting up Temporal Causality Loop here, because this will discard, these will go there, and then what will happen is Mission Fatigue will stop somebody, then stop 2 people, again, because of Let Me Help. 2 people of a particular gender are going to stop for a while. Then Unexpected is going to need Astro and 3 Exo, or a female who has medical. So we've been targeting females here. Hopefully, we've hopefully stopped 1 or 2. But we'll target females with Brief Romance, making it harder for them to have a female with medical. So then that's gonna, 2 personnel are placed on top of owner's deck. Random selection, excluding females. So then 2 males will go on top of deck. And when they do eventually get past this, then they encounter that temporal causality loop. But what will happen is 1 person will stop to face this. Then they're going to have to beat it without that random person preventing them from beating it. And then temporal causality loop is going to stop somebody. So they need to have science and cunning greater than 35. After there is essentially a stop and a stop. So realistically, in order to get past it, they need to have like 8 or 9 people, and then have you not stop the wrong ones. And even if they do get past the temporal causality loop, good for them. Quantum leap is then going to stop somebody, and then it's going to probably kill somebody, or at the very least relocate them into the past. Since we're playing a deck with time locations, it'll relocate them to our time location that we want them to go to, and that'll functionally kill them. It'll be better than killing them, because they're going to go to like across the space line into the past. So Quantum Leap is going to at least stomp somebody and remove somebody, even if they pass the temporal causality loop. If they don't pass the temporal causality loop, then the Unexpected goes back underneath, this goes away, but they're stopped, and then when they reattempt, it's just another dilemma that's going to stop somebody, and then they have to beat this again without the wrong person getting stopped again, and then we're back into Quantum Leap. So what happens then, like to basically summarize it here, is they either have empathy and they get through this, in which case it doesn't matter, good for them. If they don't, they're stopped for a turn, buys you a turn. Then 1 person stops. Then 3 more people stop, 1 for this, 2 for that. So that's one person. 4 people have been stopped. 5 people are stopped. Chances of beating the unexpected are pretty slim at that moment. So 5 people stop, and then it stays underneath there. So now they still have a 3-card combo to go through. So these people remain stopped. So if they attempted, say they attempted with 8 people, when they second turn, we will stop 1, 4, and so they're down to 4 people. Stop somebody down to 3 people. And then when they restart, if they don't add anybody or remove anybody from the attempt, they're starting just with 6, which means that 5 people have to beat this, which is not likely. And they could replay some people and attempt with 8, entirely possible, in which case this becomes a lot easier to beat with 7 people, right? But then they're down to 6 people, and then those 6 people have to have science, which is entirely possible, but they're down to say, so they're down to 6 people, and then now they're down to 5 people, and they have to have 2 archaeology. So the idea here is we don't necessarily care if the temporal causality loop gets beat. It just makes it that much harder for them to get through quantum leap. And then it's just a whole lot of dilemma attrition again here. So, okay, so that's that space combo. We want this one to get faced early, if possible, because it makes it that much less likely that they would randomly have empathy on the table. So we're going to put that here at this space mission. And then they have, they only have one other space mission, and it's right here. So this combo will go here. This combo is Thasian power. You're going to need to have just a lot of people. You're probably not going to want to pitch too many cards from hand, so you're going to probably just need a lot of people. A lot of people go into Pawns of the Military. We have Talani 3 in play. And then we can download 2, and we'll just make it obvious. We're downloading 2 virus dilemmas. So we're downloading aphasia device and virus. This one is hard to cure. They need 6 computer skill to be able to cure it. And it gets even harder because what we do is we put an aphasia device on it first and disable someone. Then they hit the virus, and all those people that they committed to this are stopped because it's highly unlikely that they're going to have 4 computer skill. It's not impossible, but it is unlikely. And so then everybody stops, and the ship has got its stuff reduced. Oh, they also do need 2 science, by the way. So this requires 2 medical, 2 science, 2 bio, and this requires 2 science and 4 computer skill, by the way. So now the ship is stopped. 1 person is disabled. End of each turn, 2nd person is disabled. If they choose to continue with this ship, which is likely, because we're putting this combo will always be the combo that goes not at where you think they're going to start. It's going to go to a space mission that you think that they've got to fly to make it more likely that after they take the virus hit, that they're just going to have to continue with that ship. Smart players know that virus sets you up for abandoned ship, but the other option is they have to leave with that ship, and that ship is attributes -2, or they got to get a 2nd ship and crew over to it. And then the ship that got the virus is basically on timeout for 3 turns from attempting this mission. So they have to either have to get a new ship, or they're just going to have to accept that they're just going to that they just have to go off this mission for 3 turns while the virus counts down. Because a smart player knows that the virus is setting up an abandoned ship, which they don't want to hit. But what's really interesting is after it is a persistent individuality. So we are using another common dilemma. in in a very uncommon way. So let's assume for a moment. Let's assume for a moment that instead of hitting him with the aphasia device first, we hit him with the virus first. Okay, so we're gonna hit him with a virus first, stop that ship, all those people, and then they have to decide, what am I going to do? They know that there's another dilemma coming that's virus related, and then there's two more dilemmas beyond that. So it creates a very tough decision for an opponent. Do I continue and eventually fall into the abandoned ship that I know is coming? Or do I just get off of this mission for a little bit? Either way, you as an opponent are have won the situation. That's what makes this combo pretty good. You made them commit a lot of people, and the reason you made them commit a lot of people was that because with the virus then hitting, the chances are that they have an entire reserve group is very low. And if you're putting this combo at the mission that's not their starting location, then the decision becomes that they just probably have to abandon and attempt a different mission that's nearby and not even do this mission. And then you're willing to let them come in and just beat the abandoned ship that they know is coming, because you're going to surprise them with the aphasia device disabling someone. They probably beat this, but then the persistent individuality is more likely to kill an additional person, because you will have stopped someone, you will have disabled someone that they maybe weren't planning on. Because in their mind, they were thinking, okay, it's just something virus related into abandoned ship. And they don't know what other virus dilemma that you're doing, right? So the other virus dilemmas are Romulan mind probes. That'd be a good one. Tsiolkovsky infection's a good one, but it's not really important. They lose first listed skill. They don't lose classification. You could do Yuta, but you don't really know what people are necessarily going to be there. Nanobiogenic fugitives would also be a good choice. If you wanted to do that in this combo, you certainly could. You could run with that instead. Because then they could stop two engineers. You could stop two engineers, and that makes it less likely that they beat the persistent individuality. So that's something to keep in mind. But for what we're trying to do is make it so that if they decide, okay, you know what, I'm just going to take the hit here. I'm on the far end of the space line from the opponent, most likely. I don't think they're going to capture all my people. I just need to get a different ship here no matter what, and then we'll just deal with it. Well, what happens is they will attempt with the whole group that's virused, and they will hit the aphasia device. That'll disable someone. Then they'll hit the abandoned ship. Personnel not needed for staffing are placed with dilemma atop mission. So the person who's disabled cannot staff the mission. Per the rules, and I did double check this, the disabled person can be removed from quarantine if another dilemma is doing the removal. So the abandoned ship can override the quarantine on the aphasia device, and the quarantine person, the disabled person has to go to the abandoned ship. So if their ship just has two staffing icons on it, then what happens is everyone goes to the abandoned ship, and including the disabled person, and then the two people are left behind, and then what happens is they hit the persistent individuality, and those people are going to die. Or if it's say 3 people on a 3 staffing icon ship, all 3 of those people are then going to die is going to die to the persistent individuality. So basically you've taken their whole team and then removed it, and then killed what was left, and then anybody that they put back onto this ship The aphasia device sits there and basically says you don't really want to use that ship again. You still need 2 medical and 2 biology to cure it. So the purpose of the aphasia device is to, and if for some odd reason, there's like people remaining on the ship somehow, I don't know what, the aphasia device also makes it so that like they don't necessarily want to like bug out of facing the persistent individuality, because say they bug out, they're still quarantined, and then end up turning someone's disabled, and then someone's disabled, and so basically they still have to get that other ship there somehow, right? So that's the purpose of that one. And again, what we're just trying to simply do here is make an opponent commit a lot of personnel, which then get all kind of bobbled up and moved around and not in the position that they want them to be in. And we're going to put that here then because we know they're not going to start at this mission. Chances that they face this combo against a deck like this is pretty low, but this is still where you would put this combo. Alright, that leaves us with our 2 dual dilemmas. We'll do the 4-1 4-card combo first. Trilithium Raid is requiring 2 engineers, right? Then Kun Ut Calithi is enhanced, and so unless they've got 2 Vulcan males, we'll get to choose 2 personnel to relocate or battle strongest other male present. They do have a homeworld here, and so chances are, so realistically we have to kind of assume that those 2 personnel are going to relocate to a matching homeworld and not battle the third one. The entire point, though, is that they just get removed, and we want to just basically have it be medical or science or security, whatever they have 2 or less of is what we're targeting, and then, boom, those people will die, and then we've just got a female's love interest garbage scow holding up the back end. We'll go ahead and put that one here. And then that leaves us with the combo that's going at Earth, and that is Dangerous Derelict is getting us Paralyzed by Fear into Garruk Has Some Issues. And what that does for us is this will stop all of the potentially low cunning people. So then Garruk Has Some Issues will then be more likely to go on top of a high cunning person and stop them. Then we hit a new game, because there's probably still people going on, right? Very likely that there's still at least one person continuing. And so then with a new game, we can choose between these 3 dilemmas, what we want to do. Relocating to a facility means that they're just going next door, so that's not really all that big of a deal. So what we do then is we go with Chula the Dice and Chula Crossroads, unless we know that it's just like a couple people left, in which case we would just put the dice first. And then the whole point is then that we stop them. If it's a lot of people that are continuing on, then we would probably just go with Chula Crossroads, because then unless they flip over Referee, Barash, Gamma Quadrant, or Ferengi, we get to stop one person of our choice. We'll stop whoever it is that makes it so that they fail the dice. And then hopefully that person is the person, they've only got one person who can beat the dice. And so then Garruk Has Some Issues. Hopefully that person's got higher cunning. And then we can just have Garruk kill that person with the lower cunning. We also have to be mindful of the fact that we would also be going after we'd be going after diplomacy or VIP classification. 3 VIPs against like this opponent is not unlikely. Against most opponents is pretty likely. So we're basically probably just targeting diplomacy. So if we can get away with it, we would put the dice first and then the crossroads. And so then what happens is we stop the crappy people, we stop a top end person. Hopefully we stop. They stop to the dice. Hopefully, we kill diplomacy if we can, because chances of us being able to keep someone off the dice is pretty low, right? But let's assume for a moment that we just can't. So we kill diplomacy, then they will attempt, then we will stop a diplomacy, and then it becomes unlikely they can beat faux pas, and then start of the turn we kill another diplomacy, and that's the idea that we're going here, is we're just trying to keep them off diplomacy. So after seeing that this is what we're looking at for probabilities and possibilities for how we order things, we would actually probably switch things around, and we would just put the drain combo here and put this combo here, because this combo is more reliably strong than this one. Either way you look at it, whenever they get to their 3 females or their 3 diplomacy personnel, you know, they're right there and they can just attempt. But at least with this going on, we can make them, like, we can drain people here a lot more reliably, more permanently than if they were, you know, than what we're doing here. So that's it. That's the combos. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. If you feel free to, if you decide you want to do something like this at your local tournament or online tournament or something like that, you know, you can tweak these a bit. See if you come up with something that you like more. I intentionally went with as few like common popular elements as possible, because I wanted to showcase that you can come up with some pretty weird stuff that's hard for an opponent to be able to anticipate, because you're just doing weird stuff, right? And as those of you who are longtime followers of me and are aware of my Coach Kevin theories, when it comes to dilemmas, unpredictability is your strongest ally. So hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. May the profits be